Candlelight blazes from crystal above. Silk gowns swirl across polished floors. The new year begins in gold. 6 feet of crystal descend on iron chains. Scaffolding holds workers steady at the ceiling as history takes shape. 70 feet of ceiling rise into shadow. Timber trusses span the emptiness above, but this story begins elsewhere. Dawn light spills across the blue ridge. Mountain ridges recede into mist, layered and ancient beyond measure. The French Broad flows through wooded banks. Mountains rise beyond the water, timeless sentinels over the valley. Pastoral fields stretch across the Asheville Valley. Scattered farms nestle among peaks, framing the horizon on all sides. On Staten Island, a grand estate commands manicured grounds. Here the heir was born in November of '62. Vanderbilt steamships crowd New York Harbor. The Commodore's shipping empire churns through busy waters, building family fortune. Steam locomotives rest beneath iron and glass at Grand Central. The railroad empire funds everything that follows from here. A gilded frame holds the father's likeness above the mantel. William Henry expanded what the Commodore built before. Leather volumes line the library shelves. At the reading desk, young George discovers his lifelong love of books. Ships cross the Atlantic carrying European culture to American shores. But wealth alone cannot purchase the taste acquired abroad. Haussmann Boulevards stretch through Paris in geometric precision. Here the young heir absorbs art and architecture that shapes everything. A Loire Valley chateau rises above formal gardens in light. These French Renaissance castles directly inspire the house to come. The octagonal staircase tower at Blois catches afternoon light. This spiral design echoes later in American limestone carved. Geometric parterre beds spread before chenonceaux and formal patterns. Clipped hedges form designs that influence gardens. An English manor house sits in naturalistic parkland. Ancient oaks scatter across the rolling lawn beyond its walls. The ocean liner approaches New York Harbor. Manhattan's skyline rises beyond as the young heir returns with visions. A Vanderbilt mansion dominates Fifth Avenue. Gilded age wealth displays boldly where carriages pass on cobblestones below. Through tall windows, the city churns beyond. Inside the quiet library, the heir yearns for open country. A steam locomotive winds through Appalachian wilderness toward Asheville. The journey carries the heir toward mountains that change. The Asheville Depot platform bustles with travelers. The small mountain town beyond holds no hint of what approaches. From the hotel terrace, Blue Ridge peaks stretch endlessly toward horizon. These undeveloped lands become the estate holdings, and rolling terrain spreads beneath scattered forest patches. 125,000 acres await the heir's transforming vision. Property deeds transfer ownership of thousands of mountain acres here. Yet paper alone cannot convey the transformation these lands. A grand Newport mansion overlooks the Atlantic. The architect's credentials include marble house on this gilded coast. Landscape plans spread across the table beside botanical specimens. The heir engages the father of landscape architecture. Winding paths curve through Central Park's pastoral scenes. The landscape architect's masterwork demonstrates his naturalistic vision. Architectural drawings cover the drafting table in layered complexity. Elevation sketches reveal the emerging chateau that crowns these mountains. A leather-bound book lies open to Renaissance illustrations. Design notes fill the margins with careful pencil annotations. A master plan shows the full estate layout. Gardens and the approach road take shape in careful ink. Property deeds rest beside an inkwell and pen. 125,000 acres transfer to new hands. A wooden survey stake stands driven into wild ground. String lines mark the first physical sign of construction. Beehive brick kilns produce materials on site in constant fire. Local clay feeds flames that yield millions of bricks needed. A circular saw blade spins through oak inside the mill. Belt drives power everything that cuts the timber. Iron rails extend toward distant mountains at ground level below. The private spur carries materials directly to the construction site. Indiana limestone blocks stack in the quarry yard awaiting shipment, but the journey south tests every block that survives intact. The foundation trench cuts a rectangular outline into hillside. Limestone blocks begin placement along the bottom, in rows. A bare hand guides a pen across contract parchment. The young gentleman signs as the formal agreement takes hold. Red sealing wax drips onto the contract corner. A brass stamp presses the monogram into the cooling crimson. A graphite pencil moves across sketch paper in drafting room. The architect renders the mansion outline rising from this earth. Photographs of Loire Valley Chateau pinned to a cork board. Blois and Chenonceau provide the reference points here. The elderly landscape architect bends over maps at Fairstead office. Contour lines reveal terrain that becomes gardens under his vision. Pencil traces the winding approach road on the plan. 3 miles of curves reveal the house in design sequence. Pressed seedlings mount on paper beside botanical notes. The forest nursery concept takes shape for restoring depleted land. The architect stands before tall bookshelves in his library. Leather volumes hold European building traditions waiting within them. Engravings of Renaissance details fill the open volume. Dormer windows and chimney clusters provide models for the chateau. The elevation drawing spreads across the entire table. French Renaissance roof lines and towers emerge in neat, detailed inkwork. Floor plans arrange across the second table in sequence. Service corridors connect to grand rooms on levels above. The steam locomotive whistle echoes through construction site at dawn, yet the sound barely registers above the constant hammering noise. The garden master plan spreads across the work table. Walled gardens and terraces surround the mansion footprint at center. Brick walls enclose the walled garden in ochre wash. Planting beds mark in green and rose for flowers. 3 easels display the complete vision in the presentation room. Elevation, floor plan, and scheme await final approval. Terraced quarry walls descend in cream-white geometric steps. A steam crane positions beside cut blocks ready for transport. A quarry worker grips an iron channeling bar beside the block. Dust covers his face as stone yields. Chain rigging lowers a limestone block toward the flatbed car. The first block already rests secured on platform. Iron rails gleam at ground level toward Blue Ridge peaks. Wooden ties support the spur carrying stone and timber. Beehive kilns glow orange at dusk across the brick field. Smoke curls upward from 3 domed structures silently. The circular sawmill blade spins through oak as sawdust sprays. Belt drives transfer power to the cutting teeth. The foreman sits at his desk with the employment ledger open. A craftsman waits as another name joins. Cottage timber frames rise along the village construction line. Scaffolding surrounds each skeleton as workers build laborers' homes. Masons position limestone blocks with iron tools and careful hands. Still, each course rises slowly through the demanding work. The young gentleman stands at the overlook as dusk settles. Below, foundation walls mark his dream made real. A ceremonial spade pierces cleared earth at the groundbreaking site. The young heir begins construction on grandest scale. Horse teams pull iron scrapers across the excavation floor. Brown earth piles upward as the basement takes shape. Mule carts climb the ramp, piled with excavated soil. Harnesses strain as animals haul toward the dump site. A steam locomotive vents at the estate rail siding. Flatbed cars stretch behind, stacked high with limestone blocks. A derrick crane swings a limestone block over the flatbed. Chain rigging strains as stone moves toward ground. Tall stacks of limestone fill the storage yard in rows. Cream-white stone catches afternoon light awaiting placement. An Italian stone mason stands at his workstand with chisel. A limestone block awaits his skilled carving hands. A chisel blade presses flat against limestone as molding emerges. Weathered fingers guide the tool with practiced precision. Foundation walls rise 15 feet in limestone courses against sky. Workers on scaffolding lay the next row above. A steel trowel presses mortar across the limestone wall top. Gray cement spreads in an even bed below. Flatbed cars carry bundled steel I-beams into the delivery yard now. Dark iron frames, interior space. Steel framework rises against the sky in skeletal silhouette daily. But iron alone cannot create the warmth the house requires. Steel framework silhouettes against amber and purple sunset sky. Iron geometry rises where limestone enclosed. A limestone block rises through the frame and chain rigging. The derrick boom extends as stone ascends toward walls. Hundreds of workers gather before rising walls at dawn. Mist drifts through assembly as light illuminates their faces. A grotesque gargoyle emerges from limestone on the carving stand. Bulging eyes take shape beneath the master carvers. The completed gargoyle descends in chain rigging toward the roof line. Mortar waits as the guardian approaches its post. Massive oak beams form the roof timber above completed walls. Trusses rise in triangular geometry for steep roof. Stacks of blue-gray Welsh slate rest on wooden pallets below. Thin stone sheets await placement on roof slopes. A roofer presses slate flat against roof sheathing above. Leather knee pads grip the steep slope as nails fix. Bright copper flashing presses into the roof valley junction. Rose gold metal overlaps slate where two slopes meet together. The ornate chimney stack rises from roofline and carved limestone. Decorative bands ascend toward copper cap, catching light. Curved wooden ribs define the barrel vault above the library. Temporary supports fill the space as ceiling forms. Master carvers shape gargoyles from limestone blocks by hand steadily, yet each figure takes months to complete before installation. The spiral staircase curves upward through the four-story tower. Iron balustrade installs along outer edge with decorative. Baroque ironwork meets the newel post at the landing corner. A polished brass cap crowns the elaborate iron design. Three massive fireplace openings dominate the banquet hall end wall. Limestone columns divide the triple hearth space between. A German woodworker positions an oak panel against the library wall. Walnut grain catches light filtering through dusty air. Leaded glass with diamond pane patterns fits into the window opening. Light filters through, creating colored patterns on floor. The mansion facade stands complete in cream white limestone at dusk. Carved dormers emerge as scaffolding falls away now. Curved wrought iron ribs arch overhead in the winter garden. Glass panels fit between as daylight floods inside. Copper wire threads through conduit inside the exposed wall cavity. Gloved hands guide electrical wiring for all rooms. Three massive steam boilers rest against the basement brick wall. Pipe networks extend overhead, carrying heat throughout the mansion. A white porcelain bathtub with claw feet stands at room center. The plumber's wrench tightens faucet connections carefully. The cast iron range stretches 8 feet along the kitchen wall. A copper hood rises above where meals emerge. In the corridor, rope and pulleys carry dishes between floors above. Scaffolding finally descends, revealing completed walls to observers waiting. Still years of interior work remain before the house opens. The massive crystal chandelier descends on iron chains toward the banquet hall ceiling. Scaffolding holds workers steady above. An ornate oak billiard table stands at the room's center. Green baize stretches taut over slate beneath hanging lamps. Flemish tapestries hang along the gallery walls. Medieval hunting scenes in muted reds and golds catch filtered daylight. Framed engravings arrange in salon style across the print room walls. Classical subjects fill gilt frames of varying sizes. A horse-drawn delivery wagon waits at the mansion entrance. Wooden crates with European shipping marks lower to the ground. An Empire-style bed headboard positions in the master bedroom. Napoleonic eagles and classical figures gleam in carved gilt. Walnut bookshelves rise to the library ceiling, filled with leather-bound volumes. 10,000 books await their reader here. The winding approach road curves through forested landscape in graceful turns. Crushed stone covers the graded bed. A grass ramp ascends toward the mansion along the ramp-deuce slope. Stone walls define the edges, rising ahead. Italian garden terraces descend below the mansion in geometric steps. Limestone balustrades and symmetrical beds mark. Brick walls rise 8 feet around the walled garden perimeter. Masons on scaffolding add courses to the corner sections. Chandeliers hang from ornate ceiling medallions throughout the mansion rooms. But crystal alone cannot illuminate without the wiring. Its young white pine seedlings grow in neat rows at the forest nursery. Oak saplings stand slightly taller in adjacent beds. A young forester walks through managed timber in brown field jacket. Dappled light falls through canopy onto the forest floor. A worker kneels on the esplanade terrace positioned in limestone pavers. Each rectangular stone taps level onto the sand. Bronze-lined sculptures flank the mansion entrance on the stone pedestals. Chain rigging lowers the second guardian into its place. Ornate wrought iron gates hang on massive stone piers at the entrance. Scrollwork and the estate the monogram gleam in iron. The final scaffold section dismantles from the mansion facade at last. Pristine cream-white limestone reveals itself without obstruction. The architect stands on the esplanade before his completed masterwork. His walking stick plants firmly on the stone beneath. The elderly landscape architect surveys his grounds from the Italian terrace. Amber dusk light settles across gardens he designed. 80 domestic servants gather in formal rows at the service courtyard. Male, livery, and female black dresses form. The grand entrance hall stands complete with polished marble floors. Fresh flowers rest on tables beneath the vaulted ceiling. The completed mansion rises in French Renaissance glory at dawn. All towers and roof lines catch the golden morning light. Horse-drawn carriages arrive at the mansion facade on Christmas Eve. Gas lamps glow on carriage corners against night sky. The library shelves rise 2 stories filled with leather volumes, yet books alone cannot fill the silence of empty rooms. The young host stands in receiving position wearing white tie evening dress. His bare hand extends toward arriving guests. The 70-foot banquet table stretches through the hall set for dinner. Crystal glasses and silver flatware catch candlelight everywhere. Fine china with gold rim centers, each place setting on white damask. Crystal wine glasses cluster at the upper right. The butler presents a silver serving tray beside a seated guest. White-gloved hands hold the vessel at proper height. Dusty wine bottles rest horizontal in vaulted brick cellar racks. Candlelight flickers through the underground storage corridor ahead. A female musician sits at the Steinway grand piano in evening gown, her bare hands positioned over ivory keys. The young gentleman stands at the overlook as dusk settles. Below, foundation walls mark his dream made real. The host reads his newspaper at the round oak breakfast table. Morning light slants through windows onto the intimate room. The butler stands before a glass-fronted cabinet of gleaming silver service. White-gloved hands polish a silver tray methodically. Staff members sit at the servants' dining table taking midday meal. Simple crockery contrasts with grandeur in the rooms above. The housekeeper sits at her wooden desk with ledger and brass keys. A chatelaine hangs at her waist with authority. Tapestries hang on gallery walls depicting hunting scenes in wool. Still, the woven images seem frozen in eternal pursuit. An electric chandelier glows with steady light, unlike flickering gas flames. Incandescent bulbs mark technological progress. Blue-green water fills the tiled basin of the indoor swimming pool. Classical columns line the edges of the natatorium. Polished wooden bowling lanes stretch toward white pins arranged in triangles. Gleaming wood reflects light in the basement. Riders in scarlet and black coats mount their horses on the estate road. Foxhounds mill about beneath them, eager. Horse stalls line the stable building's central aisle in neat rows. Bay and chestnut horses look over polished half doors. A dairy worker churns butter in the estate dairy building. Tall metal milk cans stand nearby, waiting for collection. Spring blooms burst through the 4-acre walled garden in soft colors. Tulips and daffodils line the crushed gravel path. The head gardener tends climbing roses trained against the brick wall. Pruning shears trim as morning light warms the garden. Tall palm trees reach toward the conservatory's glass ceiling far above. Tiered orchid displays cascade below, and carriages arrive at the front entrance with guests in traveling clothes. Leather trunks pile on the gravel, awaiting porters. A lady's maid turns down white linen sheets on the 4-poster bed. Fresh flowers rest on the carved mahogany dresser. A carved walnut vanity table stands before the dressing room window. Silver brushes with monogram backs arrange on marble top. The banquet table stretches toward the massive triple fireplace ahead, but even 70 feet of oak cannot seat all invited. An elegant lady in white silk gown sits at her vanity. Her maid styles auburn hair into an elaborate up. The lady descends the grand staircase in white silk, catching chandelier light. Pearl trim and necklace gleam at her throat. Guests in evening dress fill both sides of the 70-foot table. The massive chandelier blazes above the gilded life below. Silver chafing dishes line the sideboard laden with hunt breakfast fare. Steam rises from eggs and sausages and bacon. Riders in scarlet coats mount bay horses on the front lawn at dawn. Foxhounds gather in a pack below them. Hounds run in full cry across open meadow on the estate. Riders at gallop follow in scarlet and black coats. In the field. An artist stands at an easel in the library beside the fireplace. Landscape paintings cover the canvas in progress. An author sits at a mahogany writing desk before the tall window. His pen moves over manuscript pages steadily. A violinist plays at a music stand while a pianist accompanies behind. Evening dress and candlelight fill the music room. Gentlemen in evening dress sit in leather chairs with cigars and brandy. Blue smoke curls upward in the smoking room. Servants descend the narrow back staircase carrying silver trays carefully, yet their footsteps never echo in the grand halls above. Cooks and maids work at the kitchen range during dinner service. Copper pots hang overhead catching warm gas lamp glow. Polished organ pipes rise in ranks from the carved oak console. Music fills the banquet hall gallery from above. A brass magnifying glass hovers over an old master engraving. Bare hands hold the print portfolio open on desk. Fern beds spread along the winding stone path in dappled shade. Ostrich ferns and maidenhair varieties grow, and a rowboat drifts at the base pond center on calm summer water. The gentleman in straw boater holds a rod. A hamper opens beside with linen and plates. The lady in white lawn dress swings a croquet mallet on manicured grass. Her straw hat ribbon flutters lightly. An open Victoria carriage moves along the gravel approach road. Matched bay horses pull past glimpses through trees. Autumn foliage frames the mansion facade in gold and orange and crimson. Fallen leaves scatter across the esplanade, and a hay wagon loaded with golden straw stands at the harvest festival. Orange pumpkins pile beside as workers gather. Snow accumulates on the conservatory glass roof panels above, but tropical plants flourish below in warm, humid air. Pristine white snow blankets the estate grounds beneath the mansion walls. Bare tree branches frame the winter scene in silence. The wine cellar holds thousands of bottles aging in darkness below. Still, even the finest vintages cannot last forever here. Fire blazes in the library fireplace on a winter evening. The host reads in his leather wing chair beside warmth. A small Christmas tree stands in the servants' hall corner, decorated simply. Wrapped gifts pile at the base for staff. The host stands in the servants' hall holding a wrapped gift with ribbon. A servant receives the package with gratitude. Silk gowns swirl on the polished dance floor beneath the chandelier. The New Year's Eve ball fills the banquet hall. A crystal champagne coupe rises toward the ceiling at midnight. Guests surrounding raise their own glasses and toast together. The empty dance floor stretches through the banquet hall at dawn. Dark chandelier candles mark where celebration blazed hours. The young host stands at his bedroom window in contemplative silhouette. White shirt and dark trousers catch the morning light. The mansion silhouette darkens against amber and purple and rose sunset. Windows begin to glow with warm interior light. A letter from Paris rests open in bare hands at the desk. The cream stationery and postmarked envelope wait beside. The couple walks along a Tuileries garden gravel path in Paris. She carries a parasol against the summer sun. A velvet ring box opens, revealing a diamond catching the light. Her bare left hand extends to receive the promise. Gardens spread in formal patterns designed by the master landscape architect. But nature constantly tests the boundaries. The bride and groom stand at the altar beneath white flowers. Cathedral light filters through stained glass onto wedding guests. A gold wedding band slides onto the bride's ring finger carefully. Engagement ring already gleams beside the new band. The bride emerges through the cathedral doorway in white satin and veil. Orange blossoms crown her auburn hair. The couple stands on a seaside balcony at dusk on honeymoon. Mediterranean sunset colors the horizon in amber and rose. A carriage passes through open iron gates returning to Biltmore. Staff line the drive, welcoming the new mistress home. The mansion facade emerges through autumn trees along the approach road. Cream limestone walls appear through gold and orange foliage. The new mistress stands in the entrance, at the hall, gazing upward in wonder. Her husband in traveling clothes waits beside her. The mistress removes her leather gloves as the housekeeper curtsies before her. Keys at the housekeeper's waist transfer. A Louis XIII writing desk stands at the window of Edith's sitting room. She holds a pen over cream stationery. The mistress holds menu cards while the cook stands attentively before her. Morning consultations establish the house. The couple walks arm in arm along the Italian garden terrace. Spring blooms surround them as her parasol shades. The husband reads aloud from a leather-bound book by firelight. His wife listens from the settee in elegant evening. The approach road winds through forest, revealing glimpses of distant limestone. Yet anticipation builds with every head. A white wooden cradle with lace canopy stands at the nursery center. A nursing chair waits nearby. Quietly, the expectant mother reclines on the chaise lounge by the tall window. Winter light falls across her form. A newborn sleeps swaddled in fine white linen. Mother's bare hands cradle the infant daughter with tenderness. The father stands at the bedside, cradling his infant daughter in his arms. Gray shows at his temples now. The minister stands behind the baptismal font at All Souls Church. The infant wears elaborate lace christening white. A nanny in gray uniform stands beside the occupied cradle, gazing down. Sunlight fills the nursery through window. Mother sits in the nursing rocker by the window, holding her daughter. Soft light falls on both in peace. The father kneels on the nursery rug beside his crawling daughter. Wooden toys scatter across the floor around. The toddler takes unsteady steps along the garden gravel path. Both parents crouch ahead with arms outstretched. A Shetland pony pulls a wooden cart across estate grass. Young Cornelia rides inside, clutching edges with light. An elaborate dollhouse fills one corner of the children's playroom. A wooden rocking horse stands nearby, waiting. Family portraits line the corridor walls in gilded frames arranged, but painted faces cannot speak of life here. The family walks together on the front lawn before the mansion. Young Cornelia runs ahead through summer light. The village school stands in Tudor brick with decorative half-timbering. Children play in the schoolyard beyond gates. Clean white beds line the village hospital ward in neat rows. The mistress visits patients in dark dress. A weaving loom fills the craft workshop center with colorful threads. A woman works a shuttle back and forth. A craftsman works a wood lathe in the village shop. Bare hands hold a chisel against spinning wood. Tall hardwoods rise in the managed forest under selective care. Young planted trees grow in the understory between. Jersey cows graze in the estate dairy pasture in fawn coloring. The herd scatters toward Blue Mountain horizons. Young Cornelia sits at her schoolroom desk in white blouse and pinafore. A governess stands at the board.
That is better, but
Small hands rest on ivory piano keys in the music room. Cornelia practices while her teacher guides beside. A chestnut pony trots in circles with young Cornelia mounted in saddle. The riding instructor guides the lesson. The family gathers beside the Christmas tree in the entrance hall. Candles and ornaments gleam as presents open. The gentleman sits in his library wing chair with reading glasses. His face shows years as he reads alone. The patient lies in the white hospital bed beneath clean linens. His wife holds his hand at bedside. A yellow telegram rests on the silver salver. The news changes everything here in this moment of arrival. Black crepe drapes over doorways and chandeliers throughout the hall. Mirrors stand covered with dark cloth and mourning. The black funeral hearse moves slowly toward All Souls Church ahead. Black horses wear the plumes as mourners follow. The coffin lowers into the churchyard grave on straps. The veiled widow and daughter stand together in black. Mother and daughter sit together on the settee by the window. Both wear black mourning as they hold hands. The library wing chair sits empty at the cold fireplace now. A closed book and folded glasses rest beside. The widow sits behind the mahogany desk in gray mourning dress. Estate papers spread before her, taking command. A pen signs the deed on the desk surface. The survey map shows land sold to preserve the rest. Young Cornelia stands before the mirror in her white debutante dress. Her mother adjusts the fabric behind her. Guests in 20s evening dress fill both sides of the banquet table. Shorter gowns mark the change in times. Cornelia walks arm in arm through the Italian garden with John Cecil. Her cloche hat marks the modern era. The empty bedroom stands preserved exactly as the owner left it. Still, absence fills the space more than furniture does. Grandmother Edith gazes down at her infant grandson in the white cradle. New life fills the nursery with hope. 3 generations gather in the salon together for the portrait. 2 young Cecil grandsons play on the floor. Stock crash headlines cover the newspaper on the desk. The estate ledger shows desperate columns of figures beside. A wooden ticket booth stands at the mansion entrance approach. Visitors in 30s attire purchase admission tickets. Tourists in 30s clothing stand gazing up at the vaulted ceiling. A uniformed guide leads them through hall. The mansion catches amber sunset light on its limestone facade. The legacy endures despite the decades. Household staff gather around the floor, radio intense attention. December 7th reaches even these remote mountain walls. An unmarked military truck backs up to the service entrance at night. Large wooden crates lower to the dock. A curator in white gloves lifts a gilt-frame masterpiece from straw. The nation's art finds refuge in mountains. Metal storage racks fill the music room with paintings arranged vertically. Gilt frames hold treasures hidden from war. A security guard checks papers at the lodge gate entrance. The 40s automobile waits at the checkpoint ahead. A hygrometer and thermometer monitor the storage room climate on wall. A technician records readings on clipboard daily. Economic pressure forces decisions about the estate continuing operations. Yet tradition demands presence. Townspeople fill Biltmore Village Main Street in celebration, waving flags. The war has ended, and waiting stops now. Wooden crates load onto the moving truck at the service entrance. Hidden art returns to Washington after safekeeping. Post-war visitors queue at the mansion entrance for reopening admission. A welcome banner marks return to public access. 50s automobiles fill the visitor parking area in distinctive styling. Post-war prosperity brings new audience to this. A large television camera on a tripod stands in the entrance hall. The operator films as lights illuminate. A gardener kneels at the formal flower bed, planting spring seedlings. Work-gloved hands press each plant into soil. A young executive sits at the library desk with the state documents spread. The next generation takes responsibility now. A fountain pen signs corporate formation documents on the office desk. The estate company establishes its future ahead. Edith, in her 80s, sits by the window with photo album open. White hair frames her face, reviewing memories. White flowers cover the All Souls altar in grief and remembrance. The congregation fills pews for Edith's final service. A tour group in 60s dress listens in the banquet hall. The docent gestures toward architectural details above. Public admission begins bringing visitors into private spaces transformed.
All right, keep it coming
But
down
tourism
there.
alone cannot sustain. A conservator applies protective treatment to weathered limestone carving. Gloved hands move the brush gently across the stone.
This vintage is
Oak
absolutely
wine
superb.
barrels line the new
Isn't it
winery
marvelous?
tasting room in
A true
rows. The
testament to
estate
the
expands
estate.
its offerings beyond houses. Grapevines on trellis systems fill the estate vineyard rows in summer. Blue Ridge Mountains rise beyond. The inn on Biltmore Estate glows at dusk against mountain backdrop. The hotel welcomes guests for overnight stays. A centennial anniversary banner hangs on the mansion facade above entrance. Visitors and staff gather to celebrate. A conservator in white lab coat works at the specialized table. Cotton-gloved hands carefully clean antique textile. The massive Christmas tree rises toward the vaulted ceiling, decorated with lights. Holiday traditions continue here unchanged. Contemporary visitors stream up the grand staircase in casual attire. Diverse faces represent here. The fourth-generation executive stands at the terrace stone balustrade overlooking grounds. His gaze extends acrosswards. The mansion and gardens spread below the elevated sunset viewpoint. Cream limestone catches amber light as dusk settles. The mansion facade transitions to silhouette against twilight purple sky. Windows glow warm as morning sunlight streams through entrance hall windows in visible beams. Dust motes float in light before visitors arrive. Military vehicles arrive at night carrying precious cargo hidden inside. Still secrecy shrouds the mansions. Tulip beds in brilliant colors line the walled garden path in spring. Gravel leads through blooms returning. Climbing roses in pink and red and white cover the garden arbor. An iron bench waits beneath summer blooms. Massive azalea shrubs show autumn foliage in oranges and reds along paths. The garden transforms every season. Blooming orchids display in the winter conservatory beneath glass panels. Snow covers the roof while palms grow low. The approach road winds through mature forest trees forming canopy overhead. Dappled sunlight filters as the design ended. The mansion view appears across the ramp-deuce grass ramp ahead. Mature trees frame the reveal as planned. Walnut bookshelves rise 2 stories filled with 10,000 volumes still. The Pellegrini ceiling preserves. The 70-foot table stretches through the hall beneath Flemish flags above. The pipe organ rises in the gallery. The ornate glass dome floods the winter garden with natural light. The sculptural fountain plays at center below. Flemish tapestries hang along the gallery walls. Medieval hunting scenes in muted reds and golds catch filtered daylight. Blue-green water reflects light in the indoor swimming pool below stairs. Roman-style columns flank 4. Victory gardens replace ornamental flowers in the productive beds transformed, yet beauty persists even in vegetable purpose. The massive cast-iron cooking range dominates the historic kitchen wall. Copper pots hang above the preserves. The ornate canopy bed fills the Louis XV bedroom with silk hangings. Period furniture tells stories of guests gone. Old master paintings hang in elaborate gilt frames along the gallery wall. Portrait subjects remain where they. Limestone treads sweep upward in the grand staircase's elegant spiral curve. The wrought iron above. Stone archways frame the Blue Ridge panorama from the loggia terrace. Italian gardens spread below toward. Healthy, mature forest fills Pisgah National Forest with century of growth. Trails wind through woodland, the estate owned. The restored cradle of forestry buildings stand in their forest clearing. Signs explain where forestry are. Education here. Historic storefronts line Biltmore Village Street as the architect designed them. All Souls spire rises above bowling. Altar candles and flowers fill All Souls Church during weekly service. Colored light falls on staff members arrive at the employee entrance for the morning shift. The estate remains a major regional employer.
Of the brushwork here.
Students
As you
in
can see,
casual
it's
clothing
not
gather
necessarily
before
artists'
artwork in the mansion
artists will
gallery. The docent shares content about what
Yes,
the
to have and to hold from this
A
day
wedding
forward.
ceremony proceeds in the
ring,
Italian
you
garden at
I now
soft
pronounce
dusk.
you husband
White
and
chairs
wife.
and floral
You
arch
may
frame
kiss
the
the bride.
couple. Peace returns and normal operations resume after years of service. But the house has changed in ways visitors see. Golden sunrise illuminates the mansion's eastern facade in amber glow. Morning mist drifts across it. Massive oak entrance doors swing open, admitting morning sunlight. Beams stream into the dim hall as day begins. The mansion silhouettes against amber and purple and rose sunset sky. Blue Ridge Mountains frame the scene. A portrait shows the young heir with dark hair and intelligent eyes. The painted likeness presides over his legacy. Carved limestone capitals show acanthus leaves and scroll work. The architect's precision endures in every detail above. A designed vista opens through mature trees now over a century old. The mansion glimpses through foliage as intended. Mature hardwoods rise in healthy forests, showing century of management. Ferns carpet the diverse floor. A craftsperson works the traditional floor loom with shuttle in hand. The weaving craft continues in these mountains still. Family portraits line the gallery walls, showing generations of Cecil stewards. Each face connects past to present this place. A horticulturist kneels at the formal flower bed, planting seedlings carefully. Gloved hands press each this place. A horticulturist kneels at the formal flower bed, planting seedlings carefully. Gloved hands press each soil. Television cameras capture the mansion for national broadcast audiences watching. Still screens cannot convey the scale of space on. Old master paintings hang in elaborate gilt frames along the gallery wall. Portrait subjects remain where they walls.
Absolutely breathtaking, isn't it?
Diverse visitors gaze up at the grand architecture and
I've
wonder.
never seen
The
anything
entrance
like the
hall
scale
welcomes
of
all
this
who come
room.
to see. A child stands looking upward with an expression of wonder. The vaulted banquet hall's ceiling soars high above.
This is the genius of the original
A
design.
guide gestures toward formal beds while the tour group listens. Italian garden terraces descend and
What are the notes on this one?
crystal
Vintage
wine
has a
glasses
lovely
arrange on the tasting bar for sampling. The winery expands offerings beyond the
Thank you.
historic house. Cattle graze peacefully in green pasture near historic farm buildings. Agricultural operations continue as they have style. The massive Christmas tree rises toward the vaulted ceiling, decorated with lights. Holiday traditions continue here in this hall. A film camera on tripod captures the library bookshelves for documentary. Crews tell the continuing story of the place. A researcher in white gloves examines historic documents and correspondence. The archive preserves sources for visit.
Look at how this
Architecture
joint is
students
connected.
sketch staircase construction
Seamless.
details in their
The
notebooks.
craftsmanship
The
is
grand spiral
incredible.
demonstration cannot teach.
If you look closely at this
Horticulture
strata
students
roller, the lid
examine
is
tropical
deeply
plants and
lobed to
orchids
attract
in the
the
conservatory.
nocturnal pollinator.
The instructor explains. A microscope examines a fabric sample from historic textile carefully. Conservation science advances in what's made. Conservation efforts protect deteriorating materials through scientific intervention, but time continues. Solar panel arrays rest at discrete locations amid a state landscape. Sustainable practices support to come. A community gathering fills Biltmore Village Main Street for local events. Historic storefronts host the celebration joyfully.
Absolutely breathtaking.
Candles
Isn't it?
provide warm, flickering illumination
shadows
during
on the wall.
evening
It feels like we
candlelight
traveled back in
tours.
time.
Visitors saw it. Morning mist drifts across Italian garden terraces in golden sunrise light. Stone balustrades emerge slowly. Massive azalea shrubs in pinks and whites and reds create walls. Spring bloom transforms garden into shades. Formal flower beds overflow with summer blooms in geometric patterns. Gravel paths intersect beds and brick walls. Trees in autumn colors of orange and gold and red arch overhead. The approach road winds through October canopy. Pristine white snow covers grounds beneath cream limestone facade above. Bare branches from stillness. Blue Ridge ridges recede in layers of deepening blue toward horizon. The unchanging mountains witnessed below. The French Broad River flows steadily through forested banks on estate. Water that bordered property still runs today. Massive ancient tree trunks rise toward sky and old-growth forest. The canopy creates cathedral above that floor. The winery produces estate wines from grapes grown on property, yet agriculture alone cannot replace what it died. Calm water reflects the distant mansion in the Beehive pond surface. Surrounding trees frame the mirrored stillness. White swans glide gracefully on calm lagoon water in paired elegance. Ripples spread from their movement surface. A classical fountain sprays water upward in the Italian garden center. Formal reflecting pools surround the cascades. Geometric hedge patterns create intricate formal design viewed from above. The shrub garden demonstrates the vision. The grass slope of the Rampe Dusa leads the eye toward mansion. The facade grows larger with each ascending step. The front esplanade extends a formal terrace before the main facade. Decorative limestone urns punctuate intervals. Massive oak entrance doors with iron strapping stand within carved archway. Bronze door, ancient wood. Tower spire and ornate dormers silhouette against dusk sky above roofline. Chimney clusters reflexity. Ornate limestone chimney stacks cluster at the roofline in carved detail. Decorative bands ornament skyward. A carved limestone gargoyle projects from the wall as decorative downspout. The creature guards its corner a century. Large mullioned windows with multiple panes reflect sky and clouds above. Carved stone surrounds precisely. Stone arches frame the Blue Ridge Mountain panorama from the loggia. The view extends toward distant peaks on clear days. Fourth-generation leadership guides the estate into new century ahead. Still, the founder vision remains decision. The massive black marble fireplace surround dominates the library's end wall. Carved overmantel tail above. Pellegrini's ceiling canvas fills frame with allegorical figures and clouds. Decorative moldings surround the master library shelves. The 70-foot banquet hall ceiling soars with timber trusses exposed. Flemish flags hang motionless in the base. Polished organ pipes rise from the musicians' gallery in graduated ranks. The instrument fills the hall when played. The grand piano stands positioned for performance in the music room. Painted ceiling and period seating await recital. The round breakfast room table sits for intimate family dining and light. Tall windows form walls streaming with sun. Rich carved oak paneling covers the sitting room walls completely. Leather seating and trophies create warm atmosphere here. The billiard table with green felt dominates the game room center. Wooden cue rack holds cues on paneled wall. Glass-fronted gun cabinets display the collection of period sporting rifles. Storage drawers rest below in the hunting room. Frame prints line the print room walls floor to ceiling. Classical subjects fill gilt frames in salon arrangement. The intricately carved bed stands at the master bedroom's center. Personal effects rest on the bedside table nearby. Morning light fills the entrance hall through tall windows streaming, but sunbeams cannot warm the cold limestone wall within. The complete mansion catches sunset light on its 250 rooms, gardens spread below as camera retreats. Carved limestone walls rise on all sides of the entrance hall. The vaulted ceiling soars above with decorative bosses. Marble tiles and geometric patterns cover the entrance hall floor. Contrasting colors create intricate surface. The ornate glass dome ceiling floods the winter garden with light. The sculptural fountain plays as palms surround. The billiard table's green felt fills the paneled game room center. Brass hanging lamps illuminate the play area below. The 70-foot banquet table stretches toward the massive triple fireplace. Barrel vault ceiling rises overhead with trusses. Triple arch openings frame the banquet hall fireplace at room's end. Carved stone overmantel rises with figures above. The pipe organ console with multiple keyboards sits at gallery level. Organ pipes rise behind wheel as planned. Walnut bookshelves rise 2 stories filled with 10,000 volumes still. The Pellegrini ceiling presents gallery stair. Pellegrini's allegorical figures float in painted clouds on ceiling canvas. Decorative moldings frame shelves. Leather bindings in browns and reds and greens fill library shelves. Gilded titles mark spines in the vast collection. Flemish tapestries showing woven hunting scenes line gallery walls steadily, rich colors preserved for seeing light. The spiral staircase ascends through the limestone tower, gracefully rising, yet footsteps echo differently than they lived. The polished black grand piano stands with lid raised for music. Painted ceiling and music stands await the musician. Morning sunlight streams through tall breakfast room windows onto table. The round surface reflects light and space. Rich carved oak paneling surrounds seating before the fireplace hearth. Warm firelight fills the sitting room with amber glow. The magnificently carved bed fills the heir's bedroom with walnut warmth. Mountain views spread beyond window chamber. The unique oval canopy bed occupies Edith's feminine bedroom at center. Gilt Louis XV silk drapes. The elaborately carved French bed with silk coverlet fills guest suite. Period armoire and decorative items with carved detail stands in the nursery. A rocking chair waits nearby in soft window light. The porcelain clawfoot bathtub gleams in the master bathroom at center. Marble surfaces and brass fixture innovation. Blue-green heated pool water reflects light from Roman-style flanking columns. Underwater lights illuminate the below. Period exercise equipment, including weights and bars, fill the gymnasium. Tall windows provide light on the polished wood floor. The polished bowling lane stretches toward pins at the far end. Period bowling balls wait on the return rack. The breakfast room receives morning sun through curved window walls. Still no family gathers here for meals anymore now. The marble pastry table provides cool surface in the pastry kitchen. Cooling racks and copper molds surround the workspace. The iron rotisserie spit positions before the open stone hearth. Below, clockwork gears spit automatically during roast. The long wooden servants' table stretches through the simple dining hall. Plain walls contrast with grand above. The housekeeper's roll-top desk holds key cabinet on the wall beside. Dozens of labeled keys access every room here. Wooden wine racks filled with dusty bottles line the cellar walls. Arched stone ceiling creates cool atmosphere for aging. Massive cast iron boilers dominate the mechanical room, providing heat. Steam pipes run in all directions from this heart. Period electrical panels with switches and fuses control power throughout. The wiring first illuminated tubes above. Large copper washing tubs in the mangle press fill the laundry. Wooden drying racks hang where linens once dried. Framed prints hang floor to ceiling in the intimate print room. Decorative borders frame each work in salon style. Deep leather club chairs arranged before the smoking room fireplace. Dark paneling and carved mantelpiece create a treat. The tall wooden gun cabinet with glass front displays period rifles. Mounted deer antlers serve as hunting nearby. Decorative murals showing fantastical imagery cover the Halloween room walls. The intimate space holds mystery details. The swimming pool reflects light from arched windows above surface, but swimmers no longer disturb the still water below. Plain painted hallway contrasts with formal rooms above through service corridor. Call bells on wall summon servants. The narrow service staircase spirals upward through hidden passages between floors. Worn treads mark routes servants traveled. The wooden dumbwaiter door opens to reveal the shaft and rope mechanism. Pulleys raise dishes dining. Glass-fronted china cabinets display the estate's fine porcelain collection within. Delicate patterns and soft light. The silver vault door stands open, revealing shelves of gleaming service pieces. Sterling flatware fills your room. Stacked white linens fill the closet shelves in precisely folded order. Embroidered initials mark household cloths. The butler's pantry stations with sink and storage stand ready for service. Glass and silver maintain their shine. Fresh-cut flowers arrange in vases in the dedicated preparation room. This space supported elaborate arrangements throughout house. Mirrors reflect carved details of the lady's elegant dressing room. Wardrobe and vanity furnish the intimate private space. Period clothing hangs in the wardrobe storage room in careful preservation. Silks and woolens survive over a century. The heir's study features his personal desk and favorite books by windows. The mountain view extends beyond workspace. The kitchen range stands ready for cooking that never comes, yet preservation keeps equipment maintained for viewing only now. The oak staircase detail shows joinery, skill in carved balustrade work, newel post rod carving above. Stained glass panels cast colored light across the passage in afternoon. Jewel tones pattern the floor in mosaics. The ceiling medallion displays painted allegorical figures in plaster frame. Decorative arts crown the formal room below. Carved figures support the fireplace mantel and classical design elements. Stone faces and foliage emerge from detail. Bronze door hardware gleams in intricate design on oak doors throughout. The metalwork demonstrates every handle. Heavy silk draperies frame tall windows in luxurious window treatments. Tassels and fringe edge the formal arrangements. Inlaid wood patterns mark transitions between flooring in different rooms. Craftsmen blended materials with skill at thresholds. Crystal chandelier and bronze wall sconces illuminate rooms in electric glow. Light fixture ambition. Silk damask upholstery covers carved furniture frames in formal salon pieces. Fabric and wood in luxury. Porcelain vases and figurines display in cabinets and on mantels above. The collection represents youth of era. Dusk settles across the detailed interiors. As light fades through windows, the mansion's rooms prepare for evening. Dawn light breaks across Italian garden terraces and formal reflecting pools. Stone balustrades emerge in mist. Spring bulbs emerge through winter soil and woodland beds, but frost can threaten new growth this time of year. Brick walls frame the entrance to the 4-acre walled garden space. Iron gates stand open, welcoming visitors. Geometric paths and beds spread across the walled garden in overview. The formal design extends vision below. Climbing roses cover wooden arbors in the rose garden section. Pink and red and white blooms cascade from supports. Spring flowering borders line garden paths with seasonal color displays. Tulips and daffodil paired beds. The glass conservatory connects to exterior gardens through matching doorways. Tropical plants transitions outside. Massive azalea shrubs form walls of color along the woodland path. Spring bloom transforms planting spectacular display. The mansion reflects in base pond water on calm summer days. Trees frame the mirrored image in stillness. Water lilies float on the lagoon's surface in scattered green pads. Pink and white blooms open among leaves. Mature trees form canopy arch over the winding approach road below. Dappled light filters through leaves onto gravel. Deer graze in the open meadow vista across a state park land ahead. Natural landscape extends toward horizons beyond. The French Broad River flows past east state boundary through forested banks. Moving water reflects sky surrounding trees. Summer roses reach peak bloom in garden beds fragrant with color, yet blossoms fade quickly in the heat. Working farm fields produce crops across the agricultural estate operation, the gentleman farmer vision cultivation. The dairy complex houses the Jersey herd operation on estate grounds. Historic farm buildings maintain cultural tradition. Managed forest shows results of century of scientific silviculture practice. Healthy trees rise classes. Textured shrub plantings create formal patterns in the shrub garden beds. Clipped hedges demonstrate horticultural precisely. The spring garden meadow spreads with naturalistic wildflower planting displays. Native species bloom across the landscape. Stone walls enclose the intimate, sunken garden in geometric design. Steps descend to the point below. Terraced garden layers step down the hillside in formal progression. Each level contains different plantings descending toward views. The esplanade vista extends from formal terrace toward mountain horizon. Stone paving and urns frame distant peaks. The Diana statue rises as focal point in the garden composition. Bronze figure catches light against its green backdrop. Wooden pergola structure supports climbing vines over shaded passage. Posts and beams frame views through the walk. Water sprays upward from classical fountain in the garden's center pool. Cascading flow catches sunlight. Rainbows. Clipped boxwood forms intricate parterre patterns in the formal garden bed. Low hedges outline above. Autumn color transforms the canopy into blazing orange and gold display. Still, bare branches soon reveal approaching fast. Iron garden bench offers rest amid the planted landscape compositions. Visitors pause to absorb the surrounding. Gravel garden path leads through planted borders toward distant focal points. The journey reveals new vistas it turns. Twilight settles across the grounds as garden forms fade to silhouette. Day's end colors landscape. Tropical plants fill the conservatory interior beneath curved glass panels. Humid warmth support climates. Orchid collection displays in tiered arrangements under conservatory glass above. Delicate blue opening conditions. Fern fronds arch from beds and hanging baskets in green profusion. The collection represents varieties. The cutting garden produces stems for arrangements in formal display beds. Flowers grow in rows for indoor decoration. Fragrant herbs grow in the herb garden, dedicated planting section. Culinary and medicinal species organizational layout. Vegetable garden rows produce food crops in the walled garden section. Kitchen garden tradition continues in productive cultivation. Espaliered fruit trees train flat against the warm brick garden walls. Branches spread bearing apples in pattern. Cold frames with glass lids extend the growing season. In shoulder months, young plants start protect for transplanting. Winter snow blankets the grounds in white silence covering all, but activity continues inside regardless of what's outside now. Compost operations transform garden waste into rich soil amendment steadily. The sustainable practice nutrients to beds. The garden well provides water for irrigation through historic pump mechanism. Bricks around marks water source. Beehives stand in the garden corner supporting pollination and honey production. The apiary contributes to garden ecosystem. A garden sundial marks time in the formal planted bed center. Bronze dial casts shadow as moves across. Planted urns on pedestals punctuate the formal garden design at intervals. Seasonal flowers cascade containers. Topiary forms rise clipped into geometric and animal shapes in green. Skilled pruning creates from plants. Wisteria vines cover the arbor structure in hanging purple bloom clusters. Fragrant flowers in framework. Spring bulbs carpet the woodland floor beneath bare canopy branches above. Naturalized flowers from winter. Autumn leaf color transforms the canopy in spectacular seasonal display. Orange and gold and trees briefly. Winter reveals garden structure beneath bare branches and brown beds, sleeping, hardscape, and evergreens defy dormant landscape. Camellias bloom against the winter garden in unexpected color emergence. Evergreen leaves flowers. Woodland trail winds through forest understory on the estate grounds. Ferns and wildflowers line the path through light. Holiday preparations begin weeks before the public celebration opens, yet each ornament placed recall back decades. A waterfall feature cascades over rocks in the woodland water garden, sound of falling water holistic setting. A rustic shelter provides rest along the woodland trail through forest. Bark-covered posts and roof blend with trees. The vista viewpoint opens to Blue Ridge Mountain panorama through trees. Designed opening frames, deep grounds. Sunset colors wash across the gardens in amber and purple light. Day ends on landscape as shadows lengthen. Moonlight silvers the garden paths and beds in nighttime illumination. Nocturnal atmosphere trans mystery. Dawn renews the gardens with fresh light across dew-covered beds. Morning begins another cycle of growth and bloom. The garden reaches completion in design maturity after century of growth. The landscape architect's vision has fully realized. Dusk settles across grounds and gardens as Phase 8 closes quietly. The estate landscape reddening darkness. Staff prepare the entrance hall for Christmas decoration installation ahead. Ladders and boxes staged for transformation beginning. Workers select the massive Christmas tree from a state forest carefully. The chosen tree fills entrance hall vault once fully raised. The Christmas tree rises slowly toward the vaulted entrance hall ceiling. Ropes and effort tree into place. Christmas lights illuminate entrance hall tree in thousands of points. Still, modern displays cannot look past. Christmas tree lights glow in the entrance hall at evening hour. Thousands of lights create magical warmth beneath ceiling. Evergreen garland drapes along the grand staircase balustrade and festive swags, red ribbon and decoration. Mantle decorations transform fireplaces throughout the mansion for holidays. Greenery and candles create warmth. In each room. The dining table sets for holiday feast with fine china and crystal, candlelight and flower setting. Evergreen wreaths hang on exterior doors, announcing seasonal welcome outside. Red ribbon ties decorations. Exterior illumination lights the mansion facade against dark winter night. Warm glow define evening hours. Candlelight tour visitors move through rooms illuminated by flame only. The house appears as a experienced it. Holiday music fills the banquet hall from piano and vocal performance. Seasonal concert tradition continues as before. Red poinsettias mass in spectacular display beneath the winter garden dome. Tropical plants holiday color. Beautifully wrapped gifts arrange on decorative tree skirt at base. Elaborate ribbon bows adorn packages and period papers. Masses of tulips in reds and pinks and yellows create spring color. Fresh green growth emerges as awakens. Elaborate floral installations fill mansion rooms during spring festival days. Spring colors and pink interiors. Seasonal events draw visitors throughout the calendar year returning, but each season offers something different around in trees. Summer roses reach peak bloom in garden beds, abundant color. Summer evening events gather guests on lawns as daylight fades to dusk. The mansion glows behind gatherings. Harvest preparations begin across the estate. Agricultural operations in autumn. Crops and grapes ready for processing. Autumn color reaches peak intensity across the estate's tree canopy. Orange and gold and red blaze against blue sky. Autumn interior warmth fills rooms with firelight as temperatures cool outside. Crackling feathered visitors. Orange pumpkins harvest from estate fields for seasonal decoration displays. The agricultural tradition autumn's annual arrival here. The dining table sets for Thanksgiving feast in traditional abundance. Crystal and china and silver await the gathered family. First, snow dusts the mansion roofline and grounds in white beginning winter landscape. Snow blankets the estate grounds in winter wonderland. Transformation complete. White covers lawns and rooflines in silence. Ice formations edge the fountain basins and pond margins in winter. Frozen water creates crystallines across the landscape. Cozy winter interior warmth contrasts with cold landscape visible through windows. Firelights while snow falls. The annual cycle repeats in familiar patterns each passing year, yet subtle changes accumulate in here. New year begins with dawn light breaking across the mountain horizon. Another year of stewardship and welcome opens ahead. Valentine romance fills intimate spaces with flowers and candlelight warmth. The mansion of love. Easter garden displays feature spring flowers and seasonal decorations outside. Families get celebration. Mother's Day blooms fill the gardens with special floral abundance. Visitors honor mothers amid the spring beauty surrounding. Memorial Day remembrance honors service and sacrifice with quiet respect. Flags and national holiday. Independence celebration lights the sky above the estate with fireworks. Summer evening spectacle marks the National Day in color. Summer concert lawn fills with audiences for outdoor musical performances. Evening entertainment continues hospitality and gathering. Labor Day farewell summer season as autumn approaches ahead. The transitional holiday marks another year's seasonal turning. Halloween mysteries fill decorated rooms with seasonal atmosphere and wonder. Candlelight and costumes celebration. Veterans Day honor recognizes service with ceremony and gratitude displayed. The estate marks the remembrance. Thanksgiving abundance fills the banquet hall with harvest celebration. Traditional feast gathers people in gratitude received. Christmas Eve tradition fills the entrance hall with anticipation and warmth. The massive tree glows as families gather beneath. Wedding celebrations fill the garden with joy and guests gathered. But even perfect days end when evenings lengthen here. Winery celebration marks seasonal releases and special tastings for visitors. Estate wines display vineyard operations. Special event setup transforms rooms for private celebrations and gatherings. Staff prepare spaces for weddings and parties ahead. Wedding ceremony proceeds in the garden with couple framed by mansion. The estate provides backdrop for life's moments. Reception elegance fills the banquet hall with wedding celebration after ceremony. Guests dine and dance beneath the vaulted ceiling. Corporate gathering fills meeting spaces with professional conferences and retreats. The historic side celebration events. Garden party guests mingle on terraces and lawns in summer weather. Outdoor hospitality continues the of welcome. Twilight magic settles across the grounds as day yields to evening. The mansion glows against darkening sky. Transition. Celebration legacy continues through generations of gatherings in these spaces. The tradition of hospitality every event. Annual rhythm brings each season's celebrations in reliable recurring pattern. The calendar marks passing year. Hospitality continues as it has since the first Christmas in 1895, welcoming visitors' essential purpose. Family gathering fills intimate rooms with warmth of connection and memory. Multiple generations occupied. Generational memories accumulate in rooms that witnessed over a century. Each visit adds to the walls hold. Future celebrations fill these spaces with gatherings yet to come. The tradition extends forward ahead of us. Celebration essence captures joy and connection that gatherings create here. The mansion facilitates happiness. Eternal hospitality defines the estate's purpose and continuing mission forward. Welcome remains all changing seasons. Celebration heritage connects present gatherings to all those that came before. The tradition honors present guests. Seasons turn in endless cycle across the estate grounds and gardens. Each year brings familiar pattern experience. Dusk settles across the estate as Phase 9 closes in twilight. Celebration and season yield the finale now. The final approach begins along the familiar winding estate roadway. The journey toward conclusion followeth ahead. Lodge Gate stands at the entrance, marking boundary between worlds. Passing through begins the transition from outside to within. The 3-mile journey through forest unfolds along the curving approach road. Trees form canopy arch. Mansion approaches. The lagoon passage reflects sky and trees and still water surface. The design sequence continues. Feeling moment. First glimpse of mansion appears through trees as approach advances forward. Cream limestone emerges brief as before. Vista opens as trees part, revealing the mansion across Rampe Deuce. The designed reveal view. The final approach brings visitors toward the mansion as darkness falls. Yet limestone still glows fading light. Fountain Court arrival marks the final steps before the entrance doors. Water plays in basins as the addition awaits. The front door threshold presents massive oak doors with iron strapping, the boundary between exits before visitors. Entering once more passes through doorway into the entrance hall beyond. The transition from outside again. Entrance hall glory fills the vaulted space with light and limestone. The grand arrival space welcomes all who enter. Staircase ascent carries visitors upward through the spiraling limestone tower. Iron ballast climbing treads. Library return brings visitors into the 2-story room of books. 10,000 volumes surround and rising high. Banquet hall majesty fills the 70-foot space with vaulted grandeur. Timber trusses, flags hanging. Winter Garden Return floods visitors with light beneath the glass dome. The sculptural fountain plays in his frame. Bedroom Sweet Memory evokes the private spaces of the original residence. Personal chambers lived within these walls. Loggia view opens to Blue Ridge panorama through the stone arches. Mountains extend to horizon, and always done. Gardens below spread in formal and naturalistic design toward distant views. The landscape arc over time. Sunset colors paint the western sky above the mountain horizon. Still, even the most brilliant display darkness soon. Forest Legacy demonstrates century of scientific management in healthy woodland, the conservation model pioneered across the nation. Farm Continuity shows agricultural operations persisting across changing decades, the working estate remains originally intended. Winery Success displays in tasting room and vineyard stretching to horizon, the expanded enterprises laid. Visitor welcome continues in entrance hall as new guests arrive. The mission of hospitality endures passing years. Family stewardship persists through fourth generation of Cecil family leadership. The commitment to every decision made. Conservation commitment protects what generations built through careful ongoing work. The preservation effort experience this. Sunset approaches as afternoon light shifts toward amber and gold. Day begins its slow transit, evening ahead. Sunset colors rise across the western sky in amber and purple. The daily spectacle builds toward intensity ahead. Mountain sunset silhouettes Blue Ridge peaks against the blazing sky. The unchanging mountains witness a day's ending here. Twilight transition deepens purple across the sky as light fades. The mansion begins to glow with interior illumination. Night falls across the estate as darkness claims the landscape. Stars emerge above as ground light illuminate below. Moonrise over mountains casts silver light across the estate grounds. Lunar illumination transforms to nocturnal beauty. Night watch continues as security patrols the darkened grounds quietly. Yet the mansion sleeps in shadow. First light returns at horizon edge as new dawn approaches. The cycle continues as darkness yields to daybreak. Dawn breaks across the Blue Ridge Mountains in golden light spreading. Another day begins for the estate all within. Morning mist drifts across grounds and gardens in soft atmosphere. The familiar shroud lifts and rises higher. Mist lifts, revealing the mansion and grounds in clear morning light. The estate emerges fresh for another day ahead. Perfect morning presents the mansion in ideal conditions of light. Every detail catches sun in the clearest possible view. Comprehensive view shows mansion and gardens and mountains in single frame. The complete estate's viewing point. Legacy endures in stone and landscape and continuing stewardship commitment. What was built, vacation shown. Gardens eternal cycle through seasons in design beauty repeating yearly. The landscape architect's vision every spring returning. Mountains forever frame the estate beneath unchanging Blue Ridge peaks. The geological permanent effort below. Vision realized shows the young heir's dream achieved in full. The completed estate exceeds what imaginers conceived here. Afternoon glory fills grounds and gardens with warm seasonal light. The golden hours enhance every surface and texture. Dawn returns to illuminate the eastern facade in golden warmth. But each sunrise brings the same house, slightly older now. Facade full frame presents the mansion in complete frontal view. Every tower and dome fills the image. Golden hour mansion catches amber light on limestone in final brilliance. The sunset illuminates last time. Final sunset begins as sun descends toward mountain horizon line. The ending ceremony plays out across the sky. Colors intensify in amber and purple and rose across sunset sky. Peak beauty begins ahead. Mountains and sunset silhouette against the blazing colors above them. Dark ridges define horizon beneath the brilliant sky. Colors fading soften the sky from brilliance toward deeper tones. The transition from sunset towards gently. Twilight descends as last light yields to approaching darkness. Fully, the sky deepens from purple toward black above. First star appears in the darkening sky above the mansion. Night announces itself with single point of light. Night settles completely across the estate in full darkness now. Only mansion windows glow against the surrounding black. Eternal presence stands in the mansion silhouette against starry sky. The house endures as it has over a century. Documentary quiets as narrative reaches its natural conclusion point. The story told rests now and the telling complete. Lights fade in mansion windows one by one toward darkness. The house prepares for sleep as the film ends. Last light glows in single window before extinguishing into night. The final illumination yields to darkness ahead. Darkness complete covers the estate in the absence of all light. Only stars remain above the sleeping landscape. Final silhouette shows mansion outline against starlit mountain horizon faintly. The form persists in darkness as presence. The end arrives in quiet stillness beneath the eternal stars above. The story concludes